So, in typical Sandlot Sports fashion, it took us about 3 or 4 times to actually record this episode. Kept hitting the button, nothing would work, and then it would record, and then whatever. You guys don't really care. We talked about what the losers of the NFL playoffs needed to do, starting with the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Dolphins. Where do they go from here? What changes can they make realistically? Then we did some coaching carousel with some of the job openings and some of the fun names that are out there. Don't think a lot of the fun names will actually get jobs, but it means that there won't be as many retreads, so it'll be fun. We also picked this upcoming week's games. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you might find your podcast. Welcome to the One Sports Podcast in Sanford, Florida for the 5th time. This is Adam Capperson. I'm here with Dorian Cody.
Hello there.
And BJ Thomas.
There are several teams that are going to be clearing house this next week.
Yes, and let's just start with one of those teams. Let's start with the team that's up in Philly.
I appreciate that choice of team. You give me the ability to warm up to the show before I just walk out.
So what does Philly need to do?
I'm happy to say this. I fired Nick Sirianni's punk ass. I haven't liked him since the day he took charge. He's a little boy in a man's job, and can't wait.
See, and I think it was, who was it? It was Colin Callagher today said he's basically Brandon Staley East. I was like, damn.
That's nice. I like
it.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, besides getting rid of Sirianni, that secondary, man, definitely got to make some changes there. I think you can get younger.
I'm trying to figure out, if I were there, I'd go back through my football history if I was an Eagles secondary player and try to figure out where I forgot to tackle. Yeah. I have never those Bucks receivers were literally, this is not an exaggeration, dancing through that secondary last night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sitting here and I was like, hit him. Yeah. Somebody hit him. And they're just like cut, juke, spin, speed. And I was like, oh well, okay.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Also, yeah, and with Rashad White, he looked like the second coming of Jamal Charles, like the leading rusher Jamal Charles. Like they weren't touching him. He was just like zipping his zapping through the front line. I'm like, damn.
I was so worried about them pairing Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was worried about those two being next to each other. I am not worried about those two being next to each other. Something's going on over there.
At all.
Like that whole team, it's not just the head coach, although it does start there. That whole team just seemed off all season.
Well, they have shitty linebackers, much like the Cowboys have undersized linebackers.
Yeah.
But their linebacker play has been terrible, and then their secondary doesn't tackle or cover. Bradbury is a dumpster fire. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with him.
Yeah, Dorian, I think your cousin was trying to play the GM last night.
As always.
Yeah, with a lighter and a flamethrower.
Well, I think it's so funny that you've heard everyone in the national media go, "Oh my God, can you believe this collapse of the Eagles? They were 10-1." It's like they were fraudulent. Like we were calling it basically all season. Like something's not right with this team. Like they're just not the same. And maybe it's Sirianni just isn't a good coach. Maybe it's losing 2 coordinators in one offseason. Probably didn't help.
I thought it was just my hate for the Eagles coming through, but we were actually right. No, but they have not run the ball properly all year.
No.
I mean, they came out throwing the football, and I'm like, wait a second, this is not what got you here.
I was watching the game last night, and like their play calling was like 30 passes to 11 runs. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Like DeAndre Swift is one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL. Like if you give that guy a hole, watch out.
Yeah.
And I don't think you give up on that after 12 touches or whatever he had.
No, they had 15 total rushes last night.
How many did Swift have? Because he didn't have them all.
10.
Yeah, you don't give DeAndre Swift 10 touches. You got to give him 15, 20 touches minimum to get the flow going. They were never for 3 quarters, they were never in a position to not run the football.
No, it was a 7-point game up until about 2 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was mind numbing to me. I was just sitting there, I couldn't believe it. I was just, why are we not running the foot? Excuse me, I apologize. I am not developmentally delayed. Why are they not running the football? What's going on here? Like they're trying to force the ball to receivers. AJ Brown's not out there, guys. Like you have to change the game plan a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it made no sense to me as to why the running game was abandoned early, middle of second quarter.
Yeah, like just completely stopped.
Right.
You know, and yeah, we're giving Sirianni crap as well. We should, but that's on the offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to know what the hell is going on.
Who hired the offensive coordinator?
That's on Sirianni.
There you go.
You're not letting Sirianni deflect off of any type of accountability.
Look, what head coach have you ever seen talk shit to fans, yell at fans? Like he's a child. Fuck out of there. Go coordinate somewhere.
He's not ready for the position. That's all there is to it.
And he was one of those guys born on third thinking he hit a triple.
Yeah. Sirianni is like Ryan Day, born on third and stole second.
Like he inherited a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
And then changed things up. People didn't have tape on it. Bang, get to the Super Bowl. People got tape on it now. I was so happy when the Bucs stuffed that tush push.
Yep.
The brother, when they stuffed that, I was like, oh,
you know,
that's what you do. You see what the nose tackle did? He just went flat to the ground.
Yep.
And I go back to it, like if you're an offensive coordinator, okay, you line up in this formation. Everybody in the building knows what you're going to do. So you go against Tennessee. You line up in that formation, and then you have Jalen Hurts snap the ball and just roll out. And there's no one there.
Yeah.
Because as you said, BJ, everyone's going for the middle. Everyone's getting low. So just kind of take the ball and just roll. Yep. It's an easy touchdown. And you do it once or twice, and then your brotherly shove or whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's going to work again because people are now going to have to wonder.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Something's wrong with Jalen Hurts' knee. He's not moving like he was last year.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He looked a little slower. So I don't know if that's an option right now.
Or just, again, line up and just do a pitch to the running back.
Well, unfortunately, they showed their hand with that early in the season. They did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did that. I want to say it was the Chargers. Did they play the Chargers this year? That's what it seems like in my head. But they pitched it to Swift, I think.
I'll pull up their schedule real quick. Why is it so hard to find the schedule? They did not play the Chargers this year.
Who was it they did that to? It was a daytime game. But they did it. They lined up in that and then pitched to Swift. He went to the up top part of the television screen.
Was it Washington, maybe?
I don't know. It was an outdoor day game.
Okay. But and that's, I know we go back to it, but the three of us have been saying something's not right with them because they had, looking at this, like two victories by more than 10 points all season. They were 11-6. 2 of those victories were by more than 10. Ironically, one was against Tampa Bay in a game that nobody watched.
It's been a blast to watch, I must say.
I'm sure. So the other team that trying to figure out what the hell they need to do is Miami. Because they looked like they just did not want to be there.
Yeah. Well, I knew that they were going to have issues not only from the weather, but Bradley Chubb and the other defensive end,
Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips. Them being out, they help when it came to stopping the run and rushing the quarterback. So them both being injured, and then I think they had someone on another linebacker that was injured. Well, they had a lot of injuries on defense.
Somebody Van Ginkel replaced.
Yeah, not Jerome Baker. Was it Jerome Baker?
I'm not positive.
No. Jerome Baker played. He played.
I thought Van Ginkel came in and played well.
Yeah,
replaced him, but their defense is definitely nicked up.
Yeah. And their defense held up. I mean, they gave up 26 points against Mahomes, which is normally good enough.
Look,
but the offense
man.
had one drive.
Playing outside in the winter, the bullies win those football games.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are not bullies. They're speed guys. They're left to right guys. Those hamstrings are tight.
Yeah.
Those hamstrings are tight. And the Chiefs can play power football, and that's exactly what won that football game.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs did what the Eagles should have done. They forced Pacheco down the Dolphins' throat.
Yeah, they did. They did.
That's what you have to do in these outdoor late games in the season. You have to beat these guys up. And the teams that are able to do that will win these football games.
Pacheco had 24 carries. The Chiefs overall had 34 carries. Miami had 18.
That's late season football.
And again, in a game that was close, it was 16-7 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to remember, much like the Cowboys, the Dolphins beat nobody this year.
No.
Right.
Ironically, the Dolphins beat the Cowboys. That's the one win against a
I just said they didn't beat anybody this year. It's been the Eagles, Cowboys, and Dolphins are fraudulent. All of them.
Yep.
They're paper tigers.
And so where does Miami go? Because I mean, I think their coach is a decent coach. Do they get rid of Tua?
Well, I don't know how much really needs to change in Miami. In my opinion, they had their two main pass rushers out who were probably top 20 pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Top 25. I think that's acceptable. And then on top of that, Tyreek's been banged up for 4 or 5 weeks now and still playing. Mostert's been nicked up, which isn't an excuse, but it is a situation. So I don't know. I think they need to add pieces. I wouldn't subtract anything.
Right.
I think they need to focus on the draft, get some more offensive linemen in there because they have to switch. They got to play bully football at some point in the season to win these games. And they have to be able to, much like the Chiefs did, force Mostert and force Achane.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's just how it is. This is the division they play in. If they don't win the division, they're going to Buffalo. They're going to New England. They're going to New York.
Yep.
They have to play outside football. Cold outside football.
But it's not just that. I mean, again, during the regular season, they did not beat anybody with a winning record except for one team, thanks to a Tony Pollard fumble.
That's what I'm talking about, bullies. They have to turn that team into bullies. They're finesse guys right now. They're the fun bunch. They're fun to watch. They're entertaining. They're a high wire act. They have to transform into bullies.
I don't think you can do that overnight.
I would disagree.
Depends on personnel. Just got to get the.
Let me ask you this. This is just, I'm talking strictly on personality, not talent. You put a guy like Ray Lewis on that defense, what happens?
They're stronger.
They're bullies.
Yeah.
All you need to find the correct players, and this is where the GM's going to come in, to manipulate that locker room into being bullies. They need Richie Incognito back.
Yeah, I would also say that you need to find the right defensive coordinator and the right offensive coordinator to be a bully. Because if you have a strong offensive line that can bully people, but you're not calling the appropriate plays, not calling the appropriate scheme, it's not going to matter.
Well, they run an outside run game anyways. So I think that would be on the head coach to say, hey, I'm cool with that, but at some point we're going to have to run some of these traps, some of these dives. We're going to have to run over in between the guards. It's just how it's going to have to be. So I think with a little roster churn and a reset on the mindset, the Dolphins will be just fine. They're the least of my worries out of the three teams we're talking about.
Okay, well, do you want to go to the last one, Dallas?
No, fuck them. Nuke it. No, I don't even. That offense is archaic to me. It's just stuff that Aaron Rodgers was running 8 years ago, 7 years ago. It's something has to be done there. That would have taken some of the pressure off the defense. But Dan Quinn also has a history of not closing games out. He doesn't close games out. He's 0-6 against the people on his coaching staff, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, and Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Right.
0-3 in the playoffs.
Right. He was the head coach that allowed that debacle between the Falcons and the Patriots, right?
He was a part of that, yeah.
That was a joint effort.
Well, where's the
Yes.
axe fall?
Yeah. Yeah. He was the head coach. That was also a joint effort.
Was it though? Because those guys closed games, and Dan Quinn's defense hasn't lately.
True, but if you can run the ball, as we've talked about, you don't have Matt Ryan fumbling. You don't have Julio Jones stepping out of bounds.
Mm. Yeah.
Again, a lot of the blame does fall on Dan Quinn. Not all of it. Some of it falls on Kyle Shanahan, who, by the way, can also not come back.
Well, he doesn't have the quarterback to do that.
He's never been able to come back. As a head coach, he has like 6 victories when his team was trailing at a halftime.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sad about the Dan Quinn thing because I like what he's done. He's developed Michael Parsons. He's developed a lot of the players for that defense. Marquise Bell, Donovan Wilson. He's helped turn Trevion Diggs into one of the best corners of football. Deron Bland. I mean, look what he's done for him. So it's sad. He has great qualities about him, but there's a couple big drawbacks to a Dan Quinn defense, and I'm starting to wonder if it also is becoming archaic.
Well, go ahead, Dorian. I'll make my
No. I was going to say. So, one of the commentators that they made a mention to Dallas's offense, and they said that Dallas is unstoppable when they have 2 running backs that Tony Pollard shouldn't be taking more than 20 snaps.
He never has in his career. At Memphis,
Right.
He was a gadget guy.
Right, exactly.
He never carried the load.
Right. It's always been Zeke. So he was saying, I guess the premise is Dallas needs to go back to getting another running back that can take, the majority of the snaps to be that kind of like what we talked about with Detroit. Why Detroit is so successful, they have David Montgomery, they have Gibbs to be able to be that gadget type of running back. They said that's when Dallas has been at their best, having that running back to be able to do the play actions and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on that?
We gotta pin those names too. We have to come back to the Lions about that. But another thing is I would not be shocked to see Derrick Henry with a star in his helmet next year.
Yeah, I actually read that actually.
Well, and my thing with the dual running backs is, of course you're successful. Why? Not only do you a lot of times have 2 different styles of running backs the defense has to prepare for, but on top of that, running backs take a lot of hits. Pretty much every carry they're getting knocked around.
Well, 3/4 of Derrick Henry, and then you bring Tony Pollard in to catch passes and run outside.
Well, and that's my point is if you can divvy up those hits amongst the running backs, the defense is tired. The running backs are not. The whole he gets stronger in the 4th quarter. No, the defense is just worn the fuck down.
Yeah, I'm talking about a 230-pound man slamming his body into linebackers for 3/4, and then all of a sudden they got to chase Tony Pollard.
Right.
Yeah, that's what Zeke was doing.
Right.
Zeke was beating that defense to a pulp in the middle, and then Tony Pollard would just run right by him.
Right.
And we missed Zeke immensely this year. Any Cowboy fan that says otherwise is in absolute denial. Because no matter what, Zeke from the I formation with a head of steam is 4 yards.
Yep.
It might not be 30 anymore. It might not be 40, but it will be 4.
Yeah.
And if let me see, if you do that 3 times in a row, 4 times 3 is 12, and that's more than 10, right?
Yeah, I mean, sure, but also it makes people not want to tackle after a while.
And then those 4-yarders become 14, 15-yarders.
You don't want to do that. It's like Marshawn Lynch says, you punch a motherfucker in his face over and over and over. You just keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's how you win football games. It's exactly what the Chiefs did to the Dolphins and how'd that go.
And this has not changed in the 100 years they've been playing football.
No. The rules just allow more passing.
But
That's all.
If you control the line of scrimmage, both offense and defense, run the ball consistently, you'll be in 80 to 90% of your games.
It's embarrassing. It's demoralizing.
Yeah.
Not be able to stop somebody for 4, 5, 6 yards constantly. That's all I got to say about those bastards. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Mike McCarthy. I would hate to see Mike McCarthy go only for the fact that he coached Dak Prescott to Dak's best season in the regular season. The problem is they did nothing special in the playoffs. It's just more of the same. There's no ingenuity. There's nothing new, or it's the same shit over and over. Like, spice it up. Try something different.
Yeah, I heard someone say, I forget who it was, I do like to give credit, is the Cowboys defense is very gambly. They will gamble a lot. A lot of times they win. They will get pass breakups, they will get turnovers. But if you don't win, look out.
Well, here's the problem with what I noticed, or what Rex Ryan noticed. I'm sorry. Rex Ryan had a very good point. He said, if you're losing the battle of the running game, why are you on the field with 6 defensive backs? 54% of the time.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. He said,
if you can't stop the run, you need to try to stop the run.
You have to run blitz. You have to put bigger personnel out there. You have to do something.
So where do they go with Dak? Should they draft another quarterback?
Here's what I think they should do, and BJ is going to completely disagree with me. I think they should draft a quarterback in this draft, but not replace Dak with him yet. Go the Green Bay route. Draft a quarterback, have him in the system for a couple of years. Dak's getting kind of older anyway. Get him accustomed to the system, and then let him replace Dak after 2 years or so.
The only reason I disagree with you is because this is a contract year technically for Dak.
Okay.
So they have to make a big decision here. And the decision is going to be to pay Dak. Because unfortunately, like we've said several times, it's him or who.
There's no one out there that's going to get you that same level during the regular season.
I'll tell you what. Drag Kirk Cousins' old ass in here. Say what you want about Kirk. Kirk was on fire before his Achilles got messed up. Kirk was playing the best football of his life. The Vikings were a real contender before Kirk Cousins got messed up.
But he's a game manager. You don't like game managers.
I like people that protect the fucking football.
It's a game manager.
What about, all right, well, no.
I never said I didn't like game managers. I just don't like the term so much because like their job is to manage the fucking game.
That I will completely agree with you. Yes, the negative connotation on the term.
Brett Favre, John Elway, it doesn't matter. Their job is to manage the fucking game.
Yes. So Dorian, you were gonna say something?
No, I think it was Louis Riddick. I know. He made a comment about if like there's the only other quarterback that he could see going into Dallas would be Kyler Murray.
Ugh.
And he said the reason being is
why?
He said he's a Dallas native, and he said that he believes that if the Cardinals move on from Kyler Murray can provide a spark to the Cowboys.
That's a stupid ass reason.
Our left tackle's 6'6". Well, you know, no. I like what Marcus Spears said. He said all the problems start at the top. He said he played 8 years at the Cowboys organization. He goes, then he went to the Ravens with Harbaugh as the coach, Newsom as the GM, and he saw Steve Bisciotti twice in his whole career. The owner of the Ravens saw him twice. How do you think that goes with Jerry?
Yeah.
Every day. Then you get that fucker a hobby. Maybe when he starts shitting himself, he'll be in diapers too much to walk around. Like, I don't know. Like
we've had people in elected positions wear diapers all day. That's not going to stop them.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see who's going to lead the Cowboys as far as coaching.
We'll get to the coaching carousel later. It's on the rundown.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so
but next up on our hit list are the Rams. They lost on Sunday night in a game that really could have gone either way. It was determined by who did what in the red zone. Detroit had 3 touchdowns on 3 possessions. The Rams had 3 field goals on 3 possessions. There was your difference.
yeah.
What do they need to do?
Oh, now that we've switched gears, we can ask for Adam's apology about Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs.
So Jack Campbell, I still will say is a bust.
What?
Yes.
He's a sideline to sideline linebacker. Maybe you should work on that secondary.
So I'm pulling up his numbers now. So Jack Campbell has had 52 tackles all season. So there were better players too. They could have gotten Jack Campbell in the 2nd round and been fine. Gibbs, I will give you. Gibbs was a reach at the time. I still think they could have got him later in the draft, but I will give him that. I will also give you Laporta. That was a good pickup. Brian Branch was a good pickup. Jack Campbell, I think, they could have definitely gotten later.
You do understand though, like it's not a gamble if it's what you want, and if you make up for it with picks later in the draft, it all balances out.
Yeah, I'm still going to die on the Jack Campbell should not have been picked in the 1st round hill.
It all depends on what you're hearing. I mean, if you want them, and teams are, because the teams communicate.
Yeah.
Some of it's smoke screen, some of it's not.
Also, too, speaking of the Rams on defense, that they got to get younger as far as the defensive line. Aaron Donald's still Aaron Donald, but I think he's definitely going to need some help on that front line.
I think that's where they need to focus is their defense. And again, I'm going to go back to the same strategy. Stafford's probably got another year, maybe 2 left in him, maybe. They need to draft his replacement and get him in the system. Doesn't have to be in the 1st round. You can get a quality quarterback in the later rounds. Keep him but bring him in the system early. Because the right receiving core they have, especially with Puka, I think they're all right there.
Yeah. I'm just so Cooper Kupp. Let's straight up Cooper. So Cooper, is he still injured? Do you think he's still nagging that injury? Because he doesn't. For me, maybe I'm wrong, but it's just that pop that he had last year as far as the way that he was able to get out of his stance running routes. It don't seem like the same as it was last year or the year before. I don't think that defense has figured him out. I believe he's still a solid route runner. It just seems if that pop, him getting into his route, he seems a bit slow. I'm thinking that maybe he's still injured.
Or it could be just the mental comeback from the injury.
All right. So I just looked something up to continue our Jack Campbell conversation. The Cowboys linebacker Marquise Bell is 6'3", 200, just under 210 pounds. He had 95 combined tackles, 62 solo, 33 assists, 3 tackles for loss, 4 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, played all 17 games. So yeah, Jack Campbell might be a bust if he's 6'5", 253, and has worse stats. However, he only did start 12 games. Marquise started all 17. But he's also 40-something pounds lighter, 2 inches shorter, and playing out of position. He's a safety, playing linebacker.
Again, I'll give you Gibbs. I'll definitely give you Laporta. Branch was a good pickup. Campbell,
but you have to admit that because they hit on the other 2, it eases the pain of the Jack Campbell pick.
Fair.
Because now it would have been a terrible, terrible, noteworthy situation had they not scored with Laporta and Gibbs.
Yes.
Yeah, it would have been mockable, laughable. But
typical Lions.
Yeah, but the Laporta thing and the Gibbs thing were huge. I was surprised Laporta played the way he hurt his knee the last week.
Yeah, I thought he blew out his knee, and they said it was only hyperextended. I'm like, he's got a shot.
As soon as they had control of that game, I'd have snatched him out.
Yep.
Ice it up, bud. Who's the most dangerous team left?
Kansas City.
I don't trust the 49ers.
No.
And that Ravens loss to the Steelers blew my mind.
Yeah.
Well, half their starting team didn't play.
Yeah. I see in the AFC, I see the Texans. They're playing with house money. No pressure on them at all. Hey, we go in, we play the Ravens, we lose. We're not supposed to be here anyway. I got called out by a fellow Jaguar fan because they said I have a bromance with CJ Stroud. It's not that. I just recognize talent. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
your friend's delusional.
Yeah. Well. He's not my friend. He's just a guy that I knew that he's a Jaguar fan. But he was like, because I was saying, I'm like, CJ Stroud outplayed Trevor Lawrence by a long shot. And you don't have to be a fan of anyone to see, like, logic is logic, like facts is facts. Like even if you put their numbers together, and then they were like, well, Trevor Lawrence had to deal with Urban Meyer. He had to, and he had injuries. But if you put
3 years ago,
right, exactly. That's what I said. I felt as if, as an organization, I felt as if the Jaguars failed Trevor Lawrence. The Texans probably saw us and said, hey, this is not what we're going to do with CJ Stroud. They got DeMeco Ryans. They got the offensive coordinator. Like, I was on their site and I was like looking at different videos and stuff, and like you can tell that they did everything they can to heighten his strengths and what he's good at, and that's why he's successful. I'm like CJ Stroud right now is he's the top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and he's the best quarterback in the AFC South,
dude,
hands down.
This is the coach that made Carson Wentz an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Like what else do you expect?
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm serious. Like, Trevor Lawrence supposedly is a much superior talent to Carson Wentz.
Right.
And this is the coach that took Carson Wentz to the MVP ballot. Like, what do you want? Everybody can't have Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, we have to make, like, I don't know. You know, it'd been interesting to see what Trevor Lawrence would have done with Mike McCarthy coaching him this year. Because for Mike to have that effect on Dak, to kind of dial him back and get him in a system that made him happy, it'd be interesting to kind of see like how that would work. Would it be any different? Or is Trevor just who Trevor is?
And not for nothing, but this is Brian Slovak's first year as an offensive coordinator.
But Doug's there.
Yeah.
You have to remember that Doug Peterson's there. You think like if things start going south, he's not going to step in and be like, "Hey, look."
I'm talking. Bob Slovak coaches for Houston.
Oh yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And it's not like DeMeco Ryans is stepping over and saying, "Hey, we should try this concept."
Right.
You know, and I was joking with my neighbor the other day, and I was like, if the Ohio State kicker doesn't finkel the kick against Georgia, does CJ Stroud go 1 instead of 2? Because Ohio State would have beaten Georgia, would have beaten the pants off TCU. Would Stroud have gone 1 over Bryce Young at that point?
I think so.
Possible.
So David Temper should probably throw a drink at the kicker for Ohio State then.
The thing is, he should have went number 1 overall regardless.
Well, yeah.
Because, the numbers were there, but they were just caught on, Bryce Young with Alabama with Coach Saban. They was drinking that Kool-Aid,
What Kool-Aid? I mean, I can name 4 quarterbacks from Alabama that are in the NFL right now, and I would not have either one of them on my team.
They're keeping up the tradition. They're keeping up the tradition.
Yeah.
Look, Tua is good when everything's going exactly how it's supposed to.
Yeah.
He's a front runner.
Yep.
He's an Alabama quarterback.
So Tua's eventually going to be a career backup, what you say, or like a nice start.
Have you
like,
seen anything to make you feel differently?
No.
I mean, he didn't beat anybody this year.
Yeah. And we said coming into if he stays healthy with this team, with what they have around him,
if he doesn't do it now, he's not going to do it.
No. I mean,
Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson's a good third receiver. I would love the Cowboys to have him back for sure and replace Gallup with him. The two running backs, Achane and Mostert, like what the hell, man? Like,
and to BJ's point earlier, if you did a trade Kirk Cousins for Tua, where does Miami go next year?
Sounds like a real Vikings trade.
No, the Vikings will throw in more draft picks.
Man, that'll be something.
Let me ask you something right now, and you have to answer it. This is obviously for you, Dorian. Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence? 2 years of Kirk Cousins or the rest of Trevor Lawrence's career?
Kirk Cousins is proven. So, and with the wide receiver core that we have, I would go Kirk Cousins.
God damn, well, that was a waste of a first round pick. First round pick. Excuse me. That was a waste of a number 1 overall pick. Let's be specific.
I just wish that I really thought that we were going to be able to hold on to Minshew and allow Trevor to just have the clipboard for, if not half a season, at least a whole season. Just let him learn. Pretty much, Jordan Love is proving that waiting with a clipboard behind a veteran for two and a half, for 2 to 3 years, it works. It works.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question. If you're drafting in 2001 and you need a quarterback, so you take one in the draft, who are you taking?
2001?
2021, sorry.
2021.
Because I can list off the quarterbacks that were drafted in 2021 when Trevor Lawrence was drafted.
What?
Okay. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, Davis Mills, Ian Book, Sam Ehlinger.
Boy, he was the default pick. Actually, I'm going to keep harping on this. My plan of action was the correct plan of action. Trade down a couple picks, pick up an extra pick, get offensive and defensive gap, fill offensive and defensive holes, and keep Minshew until something better comes along.
Because that was not the year to do it.
And now you would have to worry about whether or not to pay Lawrence a max contract in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
because that conversation's coming.
And it's happening now.
Yeah, how are you going to tell your fan base that the first round number 1 overall, we aren't paying him?
Yeah.
What is that?
He's going to walk out for nothing.
That's admitting defeat.
Yeah, because what I was reading, they're going to do everything they can to keep Josh Allen.
They need to.
No matter if he wants to stay. He says that Jacksonville. I mean, they say all types of shit, but I mean, what I read, he said that he would love to stay in Jacksonville, but money talks.
Yeah, and to BJ's point, Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater were also picked in that draft.
Franchise offensive lineman. Franchise offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like career, like 15 years locking down the spot offensive lineman.
Exactly.
Well, do you want to know also who was picked in that draft?
Who?
Mr. Micah Parsons.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, if you'd traded down into like 7 or 8, that wouldn't have been such a terrible pick.
Yeah.
Picked up a second or third rounder. Oh man. Well, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Jamar Chase was also in that draft, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, there's no point. And I get it. It's got to be desperation to keep the fan base involved. That's the only correct answer, I think. But it's not the smart move anymore. You have to do the best available.
Yeah.
Whatever works for your team, the best available.
The best available at a position of need.
Yeah, and you had a quarterback who was working. Gardner Minshew was taking the Colts to the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
That kid dropped the ball.
Yep.
It wasn't the best throw, but it was catchable, and the kid dropped the ball. Feel bad for him, by the way.
And realistically, had Minshew played the whole season, they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a 1 or 2 game difference for sure. I would say from what Anthony Richardson get 3.
Yeah, I think he started 3 games.
Yeah, so Gardner probably won't. You can safely say he would have won one of those, which would have put them solidly in the playoffs. So I don't know, man. This grasping for quarterbacks because you need it, and that was a shitty quarterback class, and they got the lesser of the evils. It's basically like an election.
Yep. Turd sandwich, a giant douche.
Yeah. At least the douche can clean something. Give me the douche.
So one of the teams we haven't touched on yet that lost over the weekend was Pittsburgh.
I don't want to say it. There's nothing to say. The team, they have a quarterback problem. Most of the team's fine, and anybody who wants Tomlin fired can just fucking pull their bottom lip over their head and swallow.
No, they are trying to run him out of town. They don't want to fire him. They want him to quit.
For what? Who? Please tell me who.
Know.
Who's coming in there to fill that spot?
Well, we'll get to it later. So I think we'll do it after this segment, actually. But the coach is not the problem. He got 10 wins out of that team on a team with Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph.
And T.J. Watt in and out of the lineup all year with injuries.
The coaching is not the problem. You get a respectable quarterback in there. Doesn't have to be a great quarterback. A respectable one. That's a 12-win team.
He did bring Matt Canada in, so he is responsible for that.
They were still winning.
Right, despite him.
Yeah.
In spite of him. So, I don't know. He needs to work on his acquisition of coordinators because he's had Todd Haley, Matt Canada. That's a problem.
Can you just sign Brandon Staley and bring him over as a coordinator?
To what? Send the young quarterback to hell? I mean, they made Justin Herbert look dysfunctional this year.
So are we in agreement that Pittsburgh just needs a quarterback? Is that kind of where we're going?
And a decent offensive coordinator, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I know I was alluding to it, but we're gonna kind of play coach roulette with the positions that are out there.
Are we assuming all these people are fired?
Yes, I'm assuming that some of these have openings. If you don't think they should have an opening, then you can just put the coach there. So Dallas, who's going to be the coach in 2024 for Dallas?
Who's going to be?
Yes.
Or who do I want? Who's likely to be?
Who's likely? Well, who do you want to be the coach? You're the resident Cowboy fan.
Who do I want to be the coach?
Yeah. And so I've got a list of some of the coaches that could potentially be available. I got Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, Eric Bieniemy, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Raheem Morris, Mike Vrabel, Dan Quinn, Doug Peterson, Mike Tomlin.
Mike who? Mike McDonald?
Yes, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore.
Okay. I wouldn't mind Dan Vrabel, but if he got fired from the Texans for communication problems, how the fuck you think I was going to go with Dallas? So, out of that list, I guess I would prefer Mike Vrabel to be Dallas's coach. I do believe Mike McCarthy will be retained, though. Mike McCarthy's like that team that just does enough. Mike McCarthy's like the Steelers of coaches.
He's Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, like you can't fire him. You should, but you can't.
So, and Dallas has a history of hanging on to their coaches for way too long. Because didn't they hang on to Chan Gailey for like 4 or 5 years?
We don't even talk about that period. That's a sad period.
And how long did they hang on to the Clapper?
Oh, you're just skipping over Dave Campbell. Yeah, well, it's tough. I mean, look what happens when you fire an 8-8 coach in Chicago.
Yep.
You keep thinking, this is what I'm saying. I mean, Mike McCarthy's starting to look really Jason Garrett-esque, but he has more success, which is worse. Because it's like, how can you fire him? He keeps putting up 12-win seasons. 3 in a row. What the hell?
Yep. Okay. So Philly, I think we're all in agreement that Sirianni is going to be gone. Who's Philly going to get?
If I were Philadelphia, I would go for Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Dorian?
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Eric Bieniemy.
I just feel like with their weapons and his offensive mind, that could be crazy.
Move on to the Chargers.
Go ahead, Dorian.
It looks like it's going to be Jim Harbaugh.
Maybe I'm just old and don't remember anything. But I don't remember teams going, "Hey, we've interviewed this guy." Like it normally would come out through an agent or a reporter, but they'll come out and say, "Hey, we interviewed him. Hey, fans, we had him in the building."
So much shit gets leaked now. You might as well hear it from the team.
Fair.
At least then the team gets the social media views.
Yep. So, Washington, as of right now, Ron Rivera has not been fired. I don't know why. I'm assuming that he will be. So,
I think Mike McDonald would be a good NFC East coach. Coach a good, solid defense. Surround himself with a good offensive staff. But he can clearly coach a defense.
Yep.
And that's one of the most serious needs for the Redskins right now is a defense.
you do realize that in a month, Brian Daboll could be the longest tenure coach in the NFC East.
You know, I've read a lot of things about how that went this year. The fact that he held that team together and kept them fighting is nothing short of a miracle. He might be a better coach than we realize. Because they were saying his defensive coordinator was trying to submarine that team.
Oh, did you see where he basically got himself fired?
And then went to Sarasota?
Yeah. Apparently, Daboll fired a couple of the assistants. I don't know the reason why. We'll never find out. And Mertendale went up to him and just in front of everybody, just cussed him up one side and down the other. And Daboll went, "Get out." It was like the scene from Half Baked. Just F you, F you, F you. You're cool. F you. I'm out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we were giving Daboll credit. I said that their season would be shit because they were still starting Daniel Jones.
Should have been starting Tyrod Taylor, but I think he got injured.
So next on the hit list is the Atlanta Falcons.
Tell you what, if Mike Tomlin's free, Atlanta should sign him. He'd be a perfect fit in Atlanta for the city, the team. That division is winnable. Saints, Bucks, Falcons, and
Panthers.
I mean,
You figure the Falcons were 2 wins away from winning the division to like this year.
The Falcons, the Atlanta fan base and team would appreciate Mike Tomlin. There'd be no fire this guy, fire that guy crap.
No. Yeah, they'd be happy with consistently winning seasons. I don't remember a time when the Falcons have had 3 straight winning seasons just as a whole. Much less
I wonder if they did around the Dirty Bird years.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Chris Chandler, Jamal Anderson, Jerome Mathis, I think that's his name.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick, but I don't think so. So that was the late 90s, right?
98. Yeah.
Okay. So they went to the Super Bowl in '98. That was a 14-2 season. That was surrounded by a 7-9 to 5-11 season.
Damn.
Okay. So they did in 2008. They went 11-5, and then they went 7-9, 13-3, 10-6, 13-3.
9-7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Mike Smith.
And then Dan Quinn was there, and had 2 straight winning seasons. And then Arthur Smith has been there and has had a 7-10 record every single year.
That's a consistent Sunday.
So yeah, I mean, if they got Tomlin in there, and just a decent quarterback, again, you don't need Patrick Mahomes in Atlanta. You've got pieces around them. Just have a decent quarterback, maybe like a Gardner Minshew type. That's a 10-11 win season.
Keep turning that knife. Just keep cranking on that fucking knife.
I can say, well.
You need to start writing letters to the GM and be like, man, listen to the podcast. These guys have been trying to help you for years.
4 years.
So next on our head coaching list, okay, I'll put Tomlin in Atlanta. Just Chicago. Now I do not have them. I have them firing Mike Eberflus. So we'll let our Chicago fans tell me if they should fire Eberflus or not. So I'm just assuming that they are.
What you thinking there, Dorian?
Chicago. I'm thinking. Is that Pete Carroll or Doug Peterson? I may say Pete Carroll. What Chicago?
I don't know how well Carroll fits with Chicago. Just the city coach marriage. He's more West Coast, laid back. That's not Chicago. Now, if he wins, I don't think they're gonna care.
Right. Yeah, but they need something fresh. They need something new. Maybe an overhaul on the whole system together would be something that they could benefit from.
As I have Bears fans tell me all the time that they're going to keep Eberflus, they're going to keep Fields, and just get them a couple pieces. I'm like,
that'll work.
Please, as a Lions fan, please keep doing that. It's like as a Michigan fan, every time I hear James Franklin's going to take this job, please don't. Stay at Penn State. So next up on this is a vacancy, Tennessee.
This could be a good place for Dan Quinn if he decides to leave. Historically, a team that historically has a good defense, even if their offense can't score or whatever, he could keep that trend going. And he has proven himself to hire offensive talent. Shanahan, LaFleur, and McDonald on the same staff. Like, he knows something.
I would actually go the other way. I don't want to put that on the universe, but for the sake of the show, I will. I think Ben Johnson should go there because that defense is serviceable now. You get a decent offense, and you're fine. So yes, I'm fine with Dan Quinn going there because that means Ben Johnson stays in Detroit. So next is Pittsburgh. Again, assuming they fire Tomlin, or Tomlin just gives them the bird and walks out.
Tell you what, the ultimate slap in the face of the Patriots is to put Bill Belichick in Pittsburgh. That'd
I
be
don't know if
awesome.
I don't know if Belichick would do that though. I mean, for the right price, anybody can be had, but
As we've seen,
Belichick's got a little salt in him now.
yeah, he's
yeah.
salty. He's just not very good with bad quarterbacks.
Or drafting them. Well, there's a report that came out that said he wanted Davis Mills, and that the rest of the staff and front office wanted Mac Jones.
And again, we listed the quarterbacks in that draft. There wasn't much.
Davis Mills would have been better than Mac Jones.
That's fair.
Davis Mills played some serviceable football for the Texans for a while there.
Mac Jones looks like a college freshman that's been thrust to the NFL.
He's so dirty. So dirty. I don't know why he hadn't had his ass kicked yet.
Maybe he has, if it just hasn't been reported yet, because maybe it's been happening in practice.
I'm talking about on the field.
Okay.
Leg whipping people, tripping people, grabbing, tripping, twisting ankles, shit like that. Just him and Grayson Allen. I have no idea why Grayson Allen and Draymond Green haven't had their teeth kicked in yet. Draymond Green out there kicking nutsacks and shit.
Choking people, elbowing him in the face. He finally came back, I think, a couple days ago.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Is he playing?
No, yeah, he's on the court, and they still lost.
I would like to see Belichick in Pittsburgh. I don't think it's likely. With their offensive problems, maybe Ben Johnson makes sense here.
I was gonna say Ben Johnson makes sense.
So, and I gave the Dallas pick to BJ, so I'm going to give Dorian the Jacksonville pick. Again, assuming Doug Peterson is gone. Have at it.
Oh,
It's not gonna happen.
yeah, but you know what? I mean, we would love some championship pedigree and Bill Belichick to come and change the organization around. I'll tell you this much: he'll definitely have a lot of accountability on Trevor Lawrence. I'll tell you that. A lot of.
I have no comment. I'm trying to be polite. It's been a long show for you, so I'm just trying to be polite.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, but I do have some good news for Dorian. He is just whooping our ass when it comes to our picks.
Yeah, at least you're winning something.
Take words out of my mouth. I would much rather translate the wins in this to us at least going to a playoff.
There's an app that you can follow that BJ and I have that you can use this to do other things. So the Schmardrog app.
I don't know why you don't say shit. What are they gonna do? Fucking sue us? It's a Hard Rock Live betting app. It's been great.
That's what BJ was so pissed at Josh Allen the other day
22 yards, you prick.
throwing stuff at the TV over Mike Evans.
This is $140 he cost me. and then the Eagles game, the lack of use of DeAndre Swift, which kind of motivated the first part of my show there, cost me another. That would have been $470 on $20.
BJ would have been buying wings. So the record is Dorian's 54-39. I am 45-48. And BJ is 38-55 against the spread.
Yeah, trash against the spread over here. And what's worse, in the Buffalo game, I picked the spread, but Josh Allen couldn't finish the plan. I was in there. Bastard.
Okay, so our first game of the week is Houston versus Baltimore. Dorian, I'll give you first pick this game.
I believe Baltimore will win, but it's going to be a close game.
Oh, okay,
So you don't think
the spread is 9.
No, I'm picking against the spread because I think it's going to be close to that. I think Baltimore will be winning by like 7 or 3, between 2 and 7 points.
I agree. I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, Baltimore does not. other than the San Francisco game, which started to go downhill quickly for San Francisco, Baltimore really hasn't played up to a number one seed. Um, I, I think Buffalo's going to win. I think it's going to be a touchdown, something like 27-20, which is within the spread. So I'm going Houston as well. So I think we just charged all of Houston. So it's okay.
I just noticed something. What's going to happen when C.J. Stroud gets a running game?
Wrap.
I mean, they are ranked 22nd in their offensive rush yards right now.
Yep.
Wrap.
What's going to happen when he gets a quality tight end and starts converting in the red zone?
What are you talking about? He's got Dwight Schultz. They had a great connection until Dwight got injured.
Yep. And Brevin Jordan isn't
not true. Sorry, Dwayne.
No, you good. No, I'm saying, Brevin Jordan's pretty solid too. I mean, he's.
I don't want to go back through the history or anything, but I'm pretty sure Dalton Schultz bailed me out against Dorian in fantasy football.
The whole episode is just trash.
No, hey, we're on a podcast, Dorian. They can't read your lips. What'd you say?
I said screw you. That's what I said.
I don't think that's what you said. You're lying to these people. Why are you lying to people? Right to their face.
Yeah. But then the crazy thing is I had Dalton Schultz this year, and he has some highlight games, but
it was the first 5-6 games of the season he wasn't doing so well. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it was like, hey, I'm picking you up off the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next game is Green Bay versus San Francisco. San Francisco is a 10-point favorite.
Ooh. San Francisco. Out of pure hate.
Dorian?
Pure hate.
Same San Francisco.
So one of the betting rules that I have is that the second round of the playoffs don't go against the team that everyone loved from the first round. I know we picked Houston, but I got a feeling that's again, they're going to keep it close to Baltimore, not going to win. I don't think Green Bay keeps this close. I think San Francisco comes back with a defense that actually covers people and don't have them like 10 yards open down the field. So I'm going San Francisco by more than 10.
Parting shots, I see.
The next game is Tampa versus Detroit. Detroit's a 6-point favorite.
That Bucs team is motivated.
Yeah.
But that spread's not enough for me to say that the Bucs will beat that spread, so I'm going with the Lions.
Dorian?
I agree. I picked the Lions.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Lions to win, but I think Tampa keeps it close. So I'm gonna pick Tampa against the spread. Give me the points. So the last game was a game that you kind of knew was going to happen, whether it was this round or the next round. Kansas City and Buffalo. I know we've probably heard this ad nauseum, but I'm going to say it anyway. Patrick Mahomes' first playoff road game, which, by the way, reminds me that Jordan Love has won as many playoff road games as Aaron Rodgers has since 2016, when Jordan Love was a true freshman at Utah State. So, anyway, just want to throw that in there. I believe Mahomes will have a fresh helmet. I'm going to say I've never seen a helmet just literally shatter on the field.
When's the last time you were negative 20 wind chill?
That's right. I try not to be.
Yeah. Everything gets crispy.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, my wife was like, "It's 7 degrees in Columbus, Ohio." I'm like, "Good. Do you want to go?" No. But it's snowing. Okay.
Shit. I can watch it on TV.
So the Bills are actually favored in this game. It's by 2.5.
I guess I'm going with the Bills. The Chiefs look to have figured some things out, though. It could be a very good game. Vegas seems to think so.
Dorian?
This is tough. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the Chiefs by field goal.
Oh, sorry. Wrong one. So I know the Bills have kind of got hot, um, but they haven't really looked super impressive. And BJ said it best, kind of under his breath. I don't know if anyone caught it. Kansas City seems to have figured things out. And Kansas City is also Buffalo's kind of just bugaboo. They just can't seem to beat them in the playoffs. Now, it might be like the Red Sox over the Yankees. Once they do, then they're going to go win championships and that whole thing. But until they do, I'm not picking against Patrick Mahomes. I'm going Kansas City.
We've been talking how terrible their offense has been all year. They finished 9th in total offense. So they haven't been Kansas City good. But they're still a top 10 offense. With
Do you think this is the
top
game
3
that,
defense.
Do you think this is the game that Travis Kelce is back to normal with 9 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown?
Quite possible.
I don't know. He's 34.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get any easier.
So I know we're talking about Buffalo's win streak. So they did beat Kansas City. That was the Kadarius Toney offsides game. They beat the Chargers by 2. They beat New England by 6 and Miami by 7 in a game that Miami just stopped running the ball in the second half.
Seems to be an epidemic in this league.
Offensive coordinators, listen to us. Bring us in, bro. Be analysts. We'll make hundreds of $1,000s. Just run the ball. Take the small wins. It's okay.
And I don't want to hear this bullshit about well, the passing game sells tickets. You know what sells tickets? Playoff games.
Winning sells tickets.
Tighten up, Buttercup.
I guarantee you that if a team just said, fuck it, and we're just going to run the triple option in the NFL, they need like 5 quarterbacks so they get hurt. But if they were winning, no one would care. Run the damn ball.
They could never get behind, though.
No. So those are your guaranteed to be wrong picks. So do with that with whatever you may. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that will wrap it up for the week. So, everyone, this has been Sandlot Sports.